Hello and welcome to another video lesson from the IELTScoach.com. As you can see in today's lesson, we are going to focus on the IELTS Academic Writing Exam, in particular the structure that is required for Task 1. So for Task 1, you have to describe a table, a pie chart, a process, a flow chart, some kind of data, numbers and figures, or how something is done. So in this video, I will give you a fairly simple structure that you can follow for any kind of Task 1 activity. So if it's a bar chart or a line graph or a table, you can use the same structure here and follow the structure exactly as it is. Of course, the language will change depending on the data, but you should have the same number of paragraphs. So let's look at the basic outline, and then I will provide some examples. So paragraph 1 should be your introductory paragraph, and it should include 2 or 3 sentences. The first sentence will be the introduction. What does the data show? What does the table show? What information can you see in the diagram? Sentence 2 is the overview, the general pattern or trend that is obvious. And we'll look at some examples of introductions and overviews a little bit later, but you get the idea here. Your introduction might be 2 sentences, depending on how much data there is, or there might be 2 or 3 diagrams, so you need to explain quite a lot. But your overview should be 1 sentence. Our next paragraph will be one group of data. Okay, so which group of data are you talking about? Are you talking about boys or girls? Are you talking about the highest amounts or the lowest amounts? Be clear which group of data you are talking about, and then provide details about that data. So your detailed sentences, depending on how much data there is, it could be 2 or 3 or possibly 4 sentences, depending if there are a lot of numbers, but you don't have to write every number. The third paragraph will be very similar. Which group of data are you describing, and what are the details of that data? So here we can see the basic structure that I recommend for all academic writing Task 1 activities, regardless of how much data there is, regardless of the type of diagram. Now let's look at that in a more practical sense. I haven't got a full example here, but I have the beginning of sentences. So we know paragraph 1 will be the introduction, and it could begin like this. The pie chart provides information about the most popular sports that boys and girls in New Zealand choose. Or the table provides details about the price of oil in a certain country. Whatever that data is, that's what you write here. Take information from the question as well as from the actual chart or diagram. Our overview would be the main pattern. An easy way to introduce the overview: it can be clearly seen that the most popular sport among boys was football, while for girls it was netball. So our overview, the general pattern. Now, when we get into paragraph 2, which group of data are we describing? So here, if we have a chart showing vehicles which are used for transportation, we have the 2 most frequently used vehicles, and then we would have details about those. Okay, details about one of the vehicles, details about the other. Also, comparison could be included as part of the details. Paragraph 3, the least common vehicles that were used. So that's how we have divided the data. You must divide the data into 2 paragraphs. I recommend dividing it into 2 paragraphs. It makes it clear, it makes it simple. If you do the same thing every time, you won't forget it. It becomes easy to remember. If you try and have a different structure for every Task 1, then you will make mistakes because you're changing all the time. If you do the same thing over and over again, you will get better at it. And then, of course, we have the details for that particular group of data. So in the example here, my introduction has 2 sentences. It could be 3. It really shouldn't be more than 3 sentences in the introduction. Your main paragraphs, paragraph 2 and 3, could be 3 or 4 or 5 sentences. More than that, you're probably putting too much information or your sentences are too short and simple. So try and stick to a structure similar to this. Generally, I recommend 2 sentences for the introduction, 4 and 4 for the other 2 paragraphs. So this is a fairly basic but very useful structure. There hasn't been a task 1 that I've come across where this structure could not be used. Yes, you can use a different structure. Yes, you can have 2 paragraphs or 4 paragraphs, but I recommend doing the same thing every time and becoming comfortable with that because it's easier to remember, it's easier to apply. So there's my basic structure for academic writing task 1. Look at examples and see if the examples that you see are using this structure or have they changed it somehow. But this is what I recommend, and I hope that you can use this, and I hope it's been helpful for you. So thank you for watching this lesson. I will see you next time. Wait, before you go, can you please do me a favor? Can you please subscribe to this channel, share this video with your friends, and then watch another video in order to practice and improve your IELTS skills.